First on CBS Mornings, we're joined by the head coach of the newly named, did you hear it? The Washington, drum roll please, Commanders. That's it. Ron Rivera is the head coach. The NFL franchise made the announcement just a short time ago. And this is what the team's new helmet will look like. This is very cool looking.
Ooh.
I like it. I like the colors. It says Commanders right there in front. In 2020, you know, the franchise retired its longtime name of the Redskins. Many Native American groups, as you know, said that that name was hurtful, and a dictionary defined racial slur. It's been known as the Washington football team ever since, until today. Head coach Ron Rivera joins us to take us behind the scenes. Hey, Coach Rivera, we're so excited that you're here. Good to see you. Really good to see you.
It's good to see you, Gayle. Thank you.
So, you know, you guys had a lot of names to choose from. I know I had nothing at all to do with this decision. You consult with me about nothing. And so, but this was absolutely my first choice. So take us behind the scenes. You had a lot to consider. Why did you and your team associated with this, making this decision, decide Commanders was the way to go?
You know, working with the Snyders and with Jason for the most part, you know, we had got over 30,000, you know, people sending in names and trying to get us to go in their direction. And it was very interesting because as you went through it, there were a lot of good possibilities, but there were also other reasons behind not being able to choose those other names. So when we started going through the list and they started to bring it down to a final grouping, the Commanders stood out the most. And it was kind of interesting to look at the possibilities with that name. So really excited about, you know, the fact that we are really starting a new chapter. You know, we're turning a page, we're going forward, we're trying to step away from all the things that have happened in the past, but we're also at the same time want to make sure we honor what has happened with this football team in terms of the World Championships and Super Bowls that they have won.
Ron, what does Commanders mean to you? And you know, there was a lot of pushback since when you announced that you were going to change the name, a lot of pushback about changing it to begin with. What do you say to the people that are still, as the kids of today say, feeling some kind of way that you made the name change? What's your message to them, and what does Commanders mean to you? Well,
you know, initially I was one of those people that, because I grew up back in the day when being known as the Washington Redskins was, you know, what everybody knew. And so I was a Redskin fan. I apologize for saying it. But when we started talking about the Commanders, my first thought was about leaders. You know, and in today's world, we seem to have a lack of true leadership, and we need people to step forward and lead this country and really help to take us in the right direction. I think it's greater than just the name of a football team as much as it's really just something that we have to look at and say, you know, it's an opportunity for us to take charge, take command, and go forward.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Nate Burleson here. Good to see you. I hope the family is doing well. You mentioned words like leadership and culture, and you talked about changing that culture. What exactly do you mean, and how do you plan on doing that?
Well, I think the biggest thing about going forward, Nate, and first of all, congratulations on where you are today, man. You're a great inspiration to a lot of us.
Thank you, Coach.
Is that,
appreciate you.
You know, you're welcome. Going forward is so important, and one of the things that we've done, and we've worked on it in Washington, and we've done it purposefully, and Jason Wright has done a tremendous job helping us go in that direction. That is, you know, we're trying to be inclusive. We're trying to involve everybody. This is not just about a certain group of people. This is about everybody, and I think that's probably the most important thing. You know, we talk about trying to develop a sustainable winning culture, and you have to do that by doing what's right and doing things that, you know, need to be done, changing the things that need to be changed. And, you know, in this world, that's important. I mean, we've got to adapt and keep going forward and not really be judged on what happened in the past, but really about what we're doing now and what we're going to do in the future.
Hey, Coach Rivera, it's Tony Dokoupil here. On the subject of change and leadership, I've got to mention that we sat down with Brian Flores, former head coach of the Dolphins, earlier today. He's got this new lawsuit alleging that the league has a pattern of bias against coaches of color. I don't expect you to know all the details of the lawsuit, but does he have a point in that broader allegation that black coaches in particular don't get a fair shake in the league?
You know, I think there is something to be looked at there. I really do. I think what Brian's doing is really a brave thing because, again, in this world, in this, you know, in what we do, we've got to be willing to open up our eyes and really decide on merit. And, you know, when you look at a guy like Brian and what he's accomplished and what he's done, there's a lot of merit there. And those are the types of things that people should be judged on and things should be based on. And I think that, you know, if we really take a step back and look at it, we would honestly say there are some things that we have to look even deeper into, and we've got to make sure we make the right type of changes so that things are inclusive, that we are doing the things that are right for us.
Do you think, Coach, that he still has a chance at getting a job in the NFL after filing this lawsuit? Some people are saying he just committed a career suicide. What do you think on that score?
You know, I hope he does, because, again, if you took what he's accomplished, you take his resume and you put it down on paper, and then you compare it to some of the other candidates that are going to be out there, that's a pretty impressive resume. And I'm, you know, I grew up in the military. My father was an Army officer. And so, you know, I grew up under the guys that people were judged on merit, they're judged on rank. And you got your rank based on what you've done and the positive things. And that's kind of the way I've always looked at it. You know, when we made some of the hires we made when I first got to Washington, you know, I hired Jennifer King. You know, she became the first black woman to hold a position in the NFL on a coaching staff. And I did it because I knew who Jennifer was. I understood just exactly what she wanted, and she got it to me based on her merit. I didn't do this as a stunt. I did this legitimately because I thought she was somebody who deserved the opportunity because of all the internships she had done with me, the work she did when she went and she was working on a college football team. She did the things you needed to do. And so I think if you judge people based on those things, you're going to make the right decision.
Coach, you have been in and around this league for a long time. I have to say this before we get off air. You are truly, truly a great coach, but you're an even better man, and I appreciate you leading the way in so many aspects. Real quick, Tom Brady's retiring. What comes to mind?
Oh, thank goodness. No. You know, he really is one of the all-time greats, and I think he's a guy that, you know, will go down as what they say, the GOAT. He deserves it. But, you know, it's kind of a sad thing for us in this league at the same time because he's done so many great things. He brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. And I think that's why you play the game, is to try to be the best. And when you get to be the best, you get to go out on your terms, and that's what he's doing. So congratulations to Tom Brady. And,
Coach,
you know, like I said,
5 seconds.
Thank
Bengals
goodness.
or Rams? Bengals or Rams?
Oh, wow. You know what? The Commanders.
We'll be right back.
Give us an opportunity.
What did he say? I don't know. We're going to get shut off.